and welcome to another Pret-a-Manger episode of We Only Look Thin. I am Katherine Weigel. I am one of your hosts. I have lost over 120 pounds and kept it off for over 6 years. I am a Tiny Habits certified coach, a Thrive Global certified coach, and a convenience store enthusiast. And with me today is
Donald Weigel, and I have lost about 100 pounds. I've kept it off for about 6 years, and I also am a convenience store enthusiast who, even though I know what you said at the beginning, I'm completely French illiterate. I don't remember what it means.
You don't remember what pret-a-manger is?
I remember, I said I know what it is. I said I don't remember what it means.
Pret-a-manger means ready to eat.
Ready to eat. There we go. Yes.
And
it is a chain of convenience stores at least in the UK, or at least in London.
Yeah. I think they might have shortened it to Pret, because then it's like even easier.
Well, I don't think anybody outside of you pronounces it with a French accent. But when we were there, I don't remember anybody...
Well, no one talked to us, so
yeah,
we didn't really talk to people.
But yeah, they have all of these like pre-made sandwiches, which is my jam. It sort of like you go into a 7-Eleven or a Wawa or something here in the US and they have like pre-made egg salad. Like I have a real problem with that.
You have a delight, an enthusiasm
slash love affair with the convenience store. The gas station egg salad sandwich.
See, but so pret-a-manger or pret. Maybe they just say pret.
Yeah, maybe
in the UK. I don't know.
Yeah, no. But you've just lost all of our UK listeners.
Pret-a-manger. What do? They have sandwiches. What are they? They're already made for you. They're in a beautiful case. Each one. They've got vegetarian, they've got vegan, they've got meat. They're delicious. They're ready to go.
They're a cut above your typical American convenience store sandwich, but they're packaged the same way in like the triangle packaging with the plastic that you rip off. But they had like cheese and onion, and they had falafel, and
oh my gosh.
I'm just saying the vegetarian ones I remember. But
I'm just saying I might be near the UK.
Oh, that's right.
Very soon.
Oh.
My mother might be interested in highbrow things.
Yeah.
Such as in including high tea places. I plan to sneak out under a cloak of darkness and go to Pret-a-Manger.
Yeah, you need to find out what time they close.
And just send you pictures of egg salad sandwiches. So we all have different enthusiasms for our trips.
Selfies with sandwiches.
With sandwiches.
Yeah.
That is actually, maybe I should like do an Instagram reel of all of the egg salad.
Selfies with sandwiches. I think that would be great. Yeah.
But that is Pret-a-Manger. In the US, convenience stores are a staple. And Staples are a store where they sell office supplies. But convenience stores are convenient, aren't they, Donald?
They certainly are.
Do you know what makes them convenient?
Their convenience.
No, okay. So
their proximity, they have a wide variety of stuff.
Right. So
it's all right there. It's like grab and go. Typically there isn't a long line.
Right. So for some reason, and I don't know why New York has this, but they're called the bodegas.
Oh yeah.
And it's usually like
is a bodega the same thing as a convenience store?
Well,
I feel like a bodega usually has produce, doesn't it?
Yeah, bodega is like, it's a tiny store.
Yeah.
It's got the most essential items. It's not Costco with a million items, but it is a tiny store where you can just grab and go. It's grab and go, everybody.
Yeah.
So again, like you said, it stocks a range of everyday items right at your fingertips, which makes them convenient.
Exactly.
Wait, no, okay. Which makes them convenient.
Yeah, I didn't realize we were doing that.
So whether we call it a bodega, a corner store, a convenience store, it is meant for fast turnover, easy access, not a lot of guesswork, and it is very convenient to stop in there. Now, we're not saying that all of the things that are convenient to eat are good for you.
No, they're certainly not low calorie.
They're not.
I mean, like I used to get, the 32 or 40 whatever ounces of actual soda out of there because
your Mountain Dews.
Yeah, when I was like in the 90s, I believe it was 14 cents for a 47-ounce soda or something.
Right. So, but it is convenient to do it. And we do things in life that are easy to do.
Yeah.
Whether those are habits and behaviors that go toward our health goals or against our health goals. And we, last week, had talked about ability chains and...
yes, Mr. BJ Fogg has a concept called the ability chain, which are... there are 5 links in the ability chain, and each link can be a barrier to getting yourself to do a habit that you would like to do. And before we get into some more details about that, we would ask you, if you were going to invite somebody over to your home and have them look around at, say, your kitchen.
Right. Like, let's pretend you're like, oh, I'll be home in 30 minutes, but the key is under the gargoyle next to the flower pot.
Right.
Because you have a gargoyle.
Why did you just tell everyone where we hide our key?
There is actually...
The key is in the gargoyle.
There is actually a house near us that has, like, gargoyles out front.
Yeah. Is there hide a key in it?
I don't know. I have not...
you haven't, like, looked around for it? Okay.
Let's pretend, because you've all done this, right? Like, you go to someone else's house... and they're not there.
Well, first thing I do is look in the medicine cabinet. But after that, no, I don't actually. I don't actually do.
But you look around, right? You kind of case the joint, and you're like, oh, okay. Do they read things? Like, what does their home say about them?
I definitely peruse when people have books out. I definitely look at that. I once accused a friend of mine many years ago of having a pretentious book collection, like that he hadn't actually read any of the books. He just had Tolstoy and Proust and,
sounds exhausting.
Catcher in the Rye, like all out.
Yeah, that sounds exhausting.
Yeah.
But if, in terms of convenience, we think of convenience stores, but what would someone say would be convenient about your surroundings? So Gretchen Rubin talks about in her, and again, we talked about BJ Fogg in the last episode and Gretchen Rubin. Gretchen Rubin has 21 strategies for habit change, and one of hers is convenience. Another one is inconvenience.
Yeah.
So in your home, in your surroundings, would you say that you have an inconvenient store or a convenient store? What would someone say about you and your food surroundings?
Yeah. Do you have your food, your kitchen, arranged in such a way that it makes it more convenient for you to do and eat in a way that you say you want to, or are you making it less convenient? Like when you walk in there and you open a cabinet, are you immediately like assaulted by cookies and chips and, things that make that, give you the mind of like eating a treat? Or do you have it arranged in such a way that, your carrot sticks are in the front, or your, low calorie drinks or whatever? Are those sort of things in the front rather than the things that, are tempting you?
Right. Because making it easy to do the things that you say are important to you really does matter, whether you're at home, on the road, at work, on vacation. And when we leave our choices to chance, chances are we are not going to make super healthy choices. And designing our environments to support our goals are really important. And like 7-Eleven makes it super convenient to have 90 flavors of Slurpee.
Right.
What is convenient? If someone, well, again, under your gargoyle, your standard issue home gargoyle.
Yes.
That's a trick. We have 50 gargoyles. We don't know which key is under where.
That's right.
If someone went into your kitchen, what would they immediately think about your environment? Because you have, and again, maybe you live with other people. Maybe it's not completely under your control. But what would someone just at a glance think about your environment? If someone was also able to stroll around your brain for some reason, like Dr. Xavier. Is Dr. Xavier the one that can go into the brain, or is he metal?
He's Professor Xavier.
Okay.
But yeah, he can go into your brain.
Okay,
yeah.
but Metallico?
Magneto.
Magneto.
Yeah.
Sorry, Magneto is magnetic.
Well, there is a DC Comics villain named Metallo also.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but he's not magnetic.
But he's not Metallica.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
he's not Metallica. They're also villains.
Okay.
But
Okay, but there are many environments. There's your physical environment, and then there is your mental environment. So is your convenient mind convenient? Is your physical space convenient for your healthy habits? We are going to break down for you on this episode how or what we have done to make our environments, both physical and mental, convenient for making helpful choices. And we are going to use the construct of Mr. Dr. B.J. Fogg.
Mr. Dr. B.J.
Mr. Dr.
Fogg,
B.J.
yeah.
Fogg. We are going to use...
Professor Fogg.
Yes.
Professor Fogg and Professor
Foggio.
X. Yes, Foggio.
Okay. Using his, which we talked about in the last episode, his ability chain. When we are able to look at all of the different kinds of ways that we can make food convenient, the more convenient it will be. And as I said in the last episode, time has boggled the mind for generations.
It was generations have been, or people have been fascinated by time for generations. Yeah.
So instead of just saying, like we postured in the, or posited.
Yeah.
We like to posit things.
Yeah.
In the last episode, what's wrong with me? Or why can't I get myself to...
What's wrong with me? And convenience and other things we're saying at the same time.
Right. So we made general comments on the last episode on the ability chain of time, money, physical effort, mental effort, routine, and then kind of environment was sort of part of that. So on this episode, we are going to specifically talk about how we, Donald Weigel Jr. and Catherine Weigel, the one,
the zero, Catherine Weigel zero.
There really aren't any other Catherine Weigels. Like if you Google me,
yeah,
there's not many things to Google. It's just me.
There are like 3 Donald Weigels, and one of them's my father when you do the Google search.
There is. So we are going to go through and give you the examples of ways that we have made our food choices more convenient, more adaptable for us as we go through this. Also, I also forgot something from the very beginning. I'm going to say it's quick.
Okay.
I'm going to give you some synonyms for convenience.
Oh!
Because you might think like...
We all love synonyms and dictionaries.
No, but I think it's really important because in B.J. Fogg's sort of behavior design...
Professor Dr. Mr. B.J. Fogg?
Mr. B.J. Fogg X. He talks about giving ourselves the ability to do what we say we want to do. And that doesn't mean motivation. That doesn't mean brute force. That means making it convenient. So again, convenience is there is a benefit, a comfort, an ease, usefulness, accessibility, and time saver. Like those are all words associated with convenience. Antonyms to that are a hindrance, difficulty, disadvantage, and unhappiness. We don't want to be unhappy, do we, Donald?
No, we definitely don't. Another antonym to convenience is unconvenience.
Unconvenience.
Yes.
But we want to make it convenient for ourselves to make helpful choices. And we want to make habits or behaviors that we don't want to do. We want to make those less convenient, inconvenient,
yes.
exconvenient for us to do. So the We Only Look Thin players, being me and Donald Weigel, are going to go through...
Are we acting this out?
No.
I thought, yeah, we're just going to say it.
Right. So you are responsible, dear listener, for making your life convenient, adapting to your specific needs, environments, and tastes. So for us to give you a prescription for exactly how to design your life is not effective. When we follow someone else's plan, we leave ourselves open to that blaming other people. Well, that doesn't work for me, so obviously I'm broken. We are asking you to work on your physical and mental environment to make food choices convenient for you. In doing so, we are going to give you examples of how we have adapted our lives to make it more convenient. And so going through this, we're going to ask you to then consider how you can make your environments more convenienter to
more convenienter, yes,
for you.
All right. So the first link in the BJ Fogg chain is time.
Time, which has bottled the mind. Sorry, I won't do that. So a lot of times when we think about the convenience of time and eating in healthy ways, we have these ideas of, well, eating healthy takes too much time. I've got to make homemade meals every day to be healthy.
Yeah.
I need to prep everything from scratch. I need to spend all day Sunday doing food prep. If that feels like too much, how can we scale that back? Because I know I used to use that as an excuse for like, well, I don't have the time to make things from scratch. I don't have time for recipes. So for me, I have made it really convenient to do the small things that fit into my life, which include taking those small, like instead of food prepping everything, you know what? I could set some eggs to hard boil on the stove for 12 minutes while I'm doing dishes.
Yeah.
I'm doing two things at once. It's minimal effort, minimal energy, and I'm doing it while I'm doing something else. I'm not food prepping for the entire week. I don't have the time for that. But what good luck. I do have time to make hard-boiled eggs.
Yeah, and, to take it a step further, if the idea of making hard-boiled eggs is too much for you, or the idea of peeling them is too much for you, you can buy the hard-boiled, pre-peeled eggs at the store, and then it's just a take them out of the fridge and eat them situation.
So again, with the time thing, I don't have time to wash all my lettuce, to prep a giant salad. So to save time, I buy pre-bagged lettuce. And it's not about focusing on the ideals of other people, but what you actually have time for. And I do that, again, while doing things while I'm doing other things. I can microwave rice while I am prepping my salad.
Yeah, trying to get over the idea that a real person would make rice from scratch. And instead, microwave rice is okay. If the options are that you're not going to eat any of it, or you're going to microwave it, which will get you to eat it, then maybe the microwaving it to get you to eat it, buying the, Trader Joe's has these like microwavable bags of rice that end up being really good when you do them. Getting, actually doing it so that you're eating the things that you say you want to eat is really the goal here.
Right. So instead of thinking about someone else's ideal, doing your own, instead of rice, you can also think cauliflower or broccoli or, any grab and go thing that you can actually get yourself to make in a short amount of time is better than the food that is left to rot because you don't make the time or don't have the time to do it in the ideal fashion.
There are so many really good, fresh vegetables that are just, already cleaned, chopped. You just snip a corner off the bag and throw them in the microwave, or you could toss them in your steamer or whatever for a short amount of time. And they're just so easy. And another thing, there are so many of these really good, like pre-done, fancier versions of vegetables. Spaghetti squash done with other vegetables mixed together and a sauce, and they're relatively low calorie, and you
like
just
frozen.
You frozen,
yeah.
You buy those at the store and you pop them in the microwave, and they have come a long way since I was a kid in terms of making those things pretty tasty.
Right. So when you're asking the question of time and you're saying this takes too much time, ask yourself the question, how could I make this easier? How could I make it simpler? How could I make it more accessible to me as I am today?
And for me, a lot of the time saving comes down to time shifting.
Yeah.
Is I move some of these things to a time when I can do it. Like I will oftentimes on the weekend, I will pre-cook, and I use cook very loosely here. It's mostly just sort of heat in a pan. Things like batches of sauteed mushrooms and onions, or I'll pre-do like veggie dogs or some sort of vegetarian, because I'm a vegetarian for anybody who doesn't know, vegetarian, cutlet or hot dog or something like that, so that then I can just pop it in the microwave to warm it, and throughout the week, and then I can just eat it, and it's already there, and it's easily done. And I do the hard part when I have the time, and then the easy part during the week when I don't have the time.
Right. Again, asking yourself the question, what could I do right now? Sometimes you just have 5 minutes that you can, fit into your morning while you're waiting for something else to happen. Oh, this would be a really great time to set aside my carrot sticks and veggies for the drive this afternoon. It's not a giant amount of meal prep, but it is, I am making my life easier in the future by doing something small right now. So keeping it really small instead of thinking of the ideals is really important for me.
And then one more thing, which I don't do a ton of because, again, I'm a vegetarian, but another thing to do, if you look on the internet, there are lists and lists of calorie-friendly items at fast food places. And this, you have to know yourself and know whether you're walking into the danger zone when you do this. But another thing to do is have these items that are calorie-friendly that you can just, in a pinch, swing by and grab at a fast food place. Just as an example, a Whopper Jr. is 340 calories. A soft serve ice cream cup, this is at Burger King, is 176 calories. You pair those with a Diet Coke, and you've got a meal for 516 calories. Or you do the Whopper Jr. and a small French fry with the Diet Coke, and you're at 660 calories. Now, maybe 660 is outside of your plan, but if you're in a pinch and you've not prepared, and you're saying to yourself, you could eat a 1,500 calorie or 2,000 calorie meal, or I've already know that I've got these sort of lucky go-to items that I can grab at a fast food place that are still relatively calorie okay. That's a whole lot better than taking a deep dive into 1,500 calories of something.
Well, and a lot of these are more than one category. So for that, it is a time saving part, and it is also a mental effort reduction. So having a go-to, what good luck, I've already got this fast food that I can go to, instead of, just saying, well, now I've totally blown it, so I've got to go totally off the rails.
Yeah, thank you for bringing me that. I know we were talking about time, and I sort of lost that focus.
But it's a time is a flat circle, Donald,
exactly,
or something. So whatever that means. Okay, and I'm going to go really quickly through a couple of other time-saving things that I do for myself. So for me, again, it is easy meals Monday through Friday. I don't have the bandwidth to make big meals, and that is okay. Our daughter has a standing appointment on Wednesday. I do not make dinner on Wednesday nights. We get fast food. It is time saving. It is a mental health issue. It makes things much easier. Again, I stick to prepping one thing. I don't spend all day doing it. For me, hard-boiled eggs or chopping some vegetables is all I can do, and that is okay. I also stick to a lot of semi-homemade foods. I do not prepare things from scratch, and that is okay. It is a time saving, and it saves my mental energy as well, and it is worth it to save that time to leave more time to do other things, like think about money, which Donald is going to talk about now.
So and some of the things that you just mentioned, come up again when you're talking about mental effort and physical effort. So we will retouch on them again. But the next chain in the BJ Fogg ability chain, or the next link in the chain, is money. And again, I want to start with a disclaimer that it can oftentimes feel like or come across like you're coming from a place of privilege when you're trying to tell people how to spend their money. You know your finances better than we do. Not trying to, tell anybody that they should have the money to spend in a certain way. But part of this one is realizing or reframing for me that sometimes spending a little more money can solve a problem, and can, when you spend a little more money, you can save time. There's that old thing, like you can get something, it's quick, cheap, or quality, and you can only pick two of those things. So for me, I have decided that it makes more sense for me to buy pre-chopped fruit and vegetables. Like for years, I would buy fruit and then it would just sit on the counter, because when it came time to eat it, the idea of prepping it would drive me absolutely crazy. And so I will buy the fruit that I really enjoy, and I'll have somebody at the store pre-chop it for me so that it's in a state where I can either just rinse it and then eat it, or just eat it, take it out of the container and eat it. And spending that little bit more of money has really made a difference to me.
Well, and like Donald said, what is better, having ideal foods that you don't eat that rot in the refrigerator, or foods that might cost a little bit more, but you're outsourcing that time by having, imagine your own sous chef at the grocery store prepping your food for you. And my time is worth money. And so it really helps me to reframe that in thinking that I am just outsourcing something that I couldn't get myself to do.
Yeah, my time is valuable, as Catherine just said. And think about what they're paying you at work to do your job. And then think about the time that you're spending to, take a whole head of cauliflower and prep it before you eat it. And, are you really saving anything by doing that? Now, if that's easy for you, then please do it. But another way to get past the money barrier for me was realizing that I didn't have to buy like an entire rainbow of vegetables.
That's a big one.
I sort of was told for years and years, most of my life, that like I had to get all of this, variety in my life. And if I wasn't eating like a giant variety of vegetables, that I was going to die of scurvy in my 20s. But really focusing on the vegetables that I really like saved me a lot of money, because I found myself buying all of these vegetables and then I was just not preparing them because I didn't really want them, and I was letting them go to waste, and it was really wasting money. So focusing on the vegetables and the fruits that I actually enjoy eating, rather than trying to eat some ideal, a complete rainbow of vegetables, help me save money in the long run.
Exactly. No, me too. And I think the biggest thing, and I'm stealing this from Donald, money is a very big issue when Donald and I have talked about making it convenient to portion control.
Yeah. By
buying individual containers instead of family-sized containers. This is a very big mental barrier, sort of, I should be able to moderate. It's a waste of money to buy single serving. But you don't think of if you were making a medical choice based on single, use items, you wouldn't give it a second thought. If you need single serving food items to help you moderate, it is worth that financial investment. And also there's a loophole, the family size loophole, that I think Donald wants to talk about.
Well, I have found that, you look at the family sized bag of chips at the store, and you then look at the smaller individual single serving bags, and you go, well, this family sized bag is such a better value. I have to buy the family size bag. It is such a waste of money to buy the smaller individual ones. And then I would come home, and I would open that family size bag and I would take it to the couch and I would eat it in one sitting, and the family size bag would become my single serve bag.
Right. So is it really cost savings to buy a $4 family size bag if you're going to eat it in one portion? Whereas if you buy a 12-pack of single servings for a little bit more, but you're actually just eating the 160 calories instead of 1,200 calories.
Yeah, and think about the cost to your health later on, and if we're going to get really philosophical, the doctor bills and the time off of work and everything else that comes from the health problems that you get from overeating and being overweight for a long time, that you can try and help eliminate by hitting a healthy weight.
Exactly. So the next category is the physical effort that it takes to eat well. Now, this can tie back into it takes too much time and energy and physical effort to pre-prepare and pre-chop and pre-do all of the things. It's not only the chopping and the preparing, but also the dishes that one has to do afterward. I feel like on the cooking shows, and they're like 30-minute meals,
yeah,
like food on a budget or whatever. It doesn't take into account, it includes prep time, but it does not include all of the dishwashing time on the other end. And I can tell you right now, that full spectrum of buying, prepping, cooking, portioning, and cleanup, that is too much effort for me on a lot of things. That is a lot of effort that I have to put into an item.
Yeah, for sure. So, again, this is somewhat of a mental thing. If you're saying to yourself, well, a grown-up wouldn't eat directly out of the microwave container that this comes in, so I'm going to put this on a plate, but then I have to wash the plate, so I'm just going to do nothing. Then it is okay to just eat right out of that container. It's okay to use the same bowl a couple of times in the same day for different things. Like I typically will take a bowl and I'll eat some fruit in it early in the day, and then I'll use the same one to eat some more fruit in it later in the day. That saves me at least one dish that I don't have to wash.
Right.
And that is a really big, it eliminates a big barrier for me in eating the fruit that I want to eat.
Well, and if that also means eating off of paper plates, using disposable items to ensure that you're getting the kind of food that you need, do not judge yourself on that. I think that we can feel, especially with, Instagram perfect everything, we can feel like if we don't do it perfectly, then we should feel shame about it. But there is no shame in meeting yourself where you are. I eat a lot of semi-homemade foods where I have, like Donald said, I have chicken from Trader Joe's that's pre-chopped, pre-cut, pre-whatever. And then I mix it into a salad that I have pre-chopped bagged lettuce that I put into. It takes very little physical effort and time effort to eat those foods, and it makes it easier for me to do it.
Yeah, and I will eat a lot of, I'm sort of saying what Catherine just said, but I really let go of the idea that I have to cook lots of stuff from scratch in order to be healthy or to lose weight. And I eat a lot of heat and eat items. And then I, spruce them up, so to speak, by adding a lot of pre-done, I'll buy, peppers and pickles and pump up the volume. But
salsas,
add a
relishes.
lot, exactly. Yeah, pico de gallo, and I mentioned earlier I'll make these batches of mushrooms and onions, and I just have that ready, and I can just basically virtually calorie free dump that stuff on top of whatever I'm heating and eating, and really make it much nicer. Just yesterday I decided to open this can of soup. And I added, mushrooms and onions to it, and it like made it about 100 times better than the can of soup by itself. And now I'm looking forward to the next can of soup. And, what is easier than opening a can of soup, dumping some mushrooms and onions that you've already made, and then heating it in the microwave? Like almost nothing, really.
And Donald saying that reminded me of my pumping up the volume activity, which was I bought a packaged container of Panera soup, their corn chowder.
Yeah.
Delicious, but little high calorie. So I had leftover microwaved cauliflower from the night before. Pumped up the volume. Bob's your uncle. Suddenly I had a delicious pump up the volume lunch. And thank you for Donald Weigel for your mushroom and onion inspiration.
Yeah, so we're making the physical effort of this easier by it's opening a can or opening a pre-done container of Panera and just heating it, but also making it more filling and satisfying by adding these other things to it. And it really goes a long way into reducing that physical effort while also increasing satisfaction.
Right. And going a little bit deeper into that, thinking of your home as a convenient store, what do you see when you look at your countertops? What do you first see when you open your cupboards, when you open your pantry, when you open your refrigerator? Making it convenient to eat in a manner that serves you means having the foods that you want to eat right out in front, in center, easy to grab, easy to open, easy to portion. Having that all in front of you really helps. Yesterday, our daughter accused me of doing some sort of Jenga situation in the refrigerator. I literally had a block of cheese that on top of it was precariously stacked.
Yeah.
Like a container of chicken and then some Donald's mushrooms and onions and then a single yogurt, and it was all teetering on this block of cheese, not making it super easy for me to grab the yogurt in the back of the fridge, which I actually was like, this is too much effort to grab my yogurt because of the heck I hath wrought at the front of the refrigerator.
You wrought heck?
I heck wrought.
Oh boy.
But really looking at your environment, if you wanted to grab something that was beneficial to you, how easy is it for you to get? For me, I literally have individual things of Dan and Light and Fit yogurt, and they're in the back of the refrigerator right now. Donald asked me if I was done eating them or maybe I was getting bored of it, but I was like, it's too much effort to go back there. And then I bought this big container of Faye yogurt, like the non-fat plain, but it's a big container and I have to measure it and I've got to weigh it and I've got to... All of that noise, other people might say, just eat the yogurt. But meeting myself where I am and realizing I made it more difficult to make a good choice by buying the bigger container. I should stick to the single servings because I'm much more likely to eat it because then I can just scan the barcode. I don't have to measure anything. And it may seem like a small thing, but if I'm keeping myself from eating yogurt just because I'm buying a serving size that isn't good for me, just buy the smaller size so you actually eat it and it is much easier for you.
And I think that ties in directly with the next chain in the BJ Fogg link, which is mental effort. And that has to do with making the things you want to eat more accessible. Catherine was talking about putting her yogurt that she wants to eat in the back of the fridge instead of where it's easier. So one thing that I try and do is put the fruit and the food that I want to eat that's part of my calorie plan. I put that in my eye line and I make other things. I make my treats much harder to get. I literally keep my single serve potato chips under our bed in a box so that doesn't make it impossible to get to, but I really have to be willful about going to get them and mindful. And I'll put I'll put fun size candy bars in a screw top container at the very bottom of a drawer in our refrigerator so that I have to willfully go get them.
Yeah. No, and for me too, that mental effort I am realizing as I'm mentally going through our kitchen. A while ago, I created a separate part of the pantry for our daughter's snacks. But our daughter's snacks are in with where we have like the garbage bags and the broom and that kind of thing. It is occurring to me, I have been maybe dabbling in some of her cookie supply. The goal was that pantry is for her, but I go into that side of the pantry to broom. Is brooming a thing that people do?
Yes.
I broom.
Yes.
I broom every day. But I realize...
What do you do? I broom.
I broom. My job is broom. But I realize right now that I am putting the cookies that I buy for our daughter right at the eye line of the broom, like the broom where it is. So it is occurring to me now that I am making it hard for me to do what I want to do by putting the cookies at eyesight. What I should do is put the garbage bags up at eye level because I'm not going to eat garbage bags. Are you going to eat garbage bags, Donald?
Yeah, and I think that this is another sort of loophole or another troubleshooting item that you can do, which is when other people in your family have their treats, really kind of make them put them out of your eye line as well.
So again, just like if your treadmill is under your bed, you are less likely to use it. Donald puts, again, chips under the bed. So that's why we can't fit our treadmill under the bed, because that's where all the chips are. But that, like, out of sight is out of mind. If your healthy foods are out of sight, you are not going to think about them. If your unhelpful foods are in your eye line, you're much more likely to grab them. So what changes can you make in your physical environment? And again, this is like a troubleshooting. These are our actual lives. I have been much more loosey-goosey with eating snacky foods recently. I can say, what is my problem? Which is actually a question I've asked myself. But my actual problem is that the cookies are in my eye line. I have also, one big mental effort part for myself has been putting policies in place. And when I don't follow those policies, that's when I fall short of my goals. So again, I have policies like no sugar in the daytime, no chips in the daytime, no sweets for breakfast, because when I do, it makes all that hyper palatable food, I want to keep eating it. So I have policies that reduce my decision fatigue, like save sweets for dessert, no chips during the day, only have alcohol on the weekends, like never supersize anything. I have policies like I only get a Happy Meal. I never get, a grown-up adult size thing. And all of those policies reduce the mental effort that is required for me to make choices that I know make me feel my best.
Yeah, and then a part of that for me is pre-deciding. I generally decide well in advance what I'm going to eat essentially the entire week. Now, I might add a little bit of like last minute choice in there for myself, but I eat a lot of the same foods every day, and I basically plan my menu for the whole week so that I don't have to think about it, so that I'm not spur of the moment going like, well,
yeah, and
then ending up eating something that I didn't really want to that was on my plan. And part of that is kind of giving in air quotes, to eating what I like, not what I think I should eat. And that means, I find things that are in my calorie range that I really enjoy to eat, and I eat those because I think for years and years I spent all this time thinking to myself, I need to eat a wider variety of things. Like, I can't just eat this one thing, but if what I really like is cauliflower and that's what I can easily get myself to eat, then I stick with cauliflower. I don't try and add lots of vegetables that I don't really care for just because I think I should do.
Right. So being in a position where you reduce that mental effort, how can I make this simpler? What am I overthinking? What ideal is too much for me right now? How can I make it more accessible, convenient, front of mind to do the things that I say I want to do? Because that mental, we get stuck in these cycles of just analysis paralysis because we don't have systems in place, because we don't know what the right thing to do is. And once we just come up with a few policies, a couple of standards, and go-to items, we are reducing that decision fatigue, which leaves us more time to do things like broom.
Exactly. Okay, so the final chain in the BJ Fogg ability chain, or the final link in the chain, is routine.
Indeed, it is routine. And again, routine can have a negative, like, oh, it's not routine, but it saves us. Like, do you want to expend all of your mental energy reinventing the wheel every single day, going with your whims? Or because that takes up a lot of energy to live actual lives and have relationships and, E equals MC squared thoughts. You know what I mean? Like science-y time things.
Yeah. No, we oftentimes think about relativity.
But routine makes it easy for us. It becomes, we say things are a no-brainer, or just you go through the motions and don't have to take up any mental bandwidth on it. It's not like you go well, which room should I sleep in tonight?
Right.
You don't every day be well, I want whimsy and novelty. No, I sleep in my bedroom on the left side of the bed. That's what I do. And you don't have to think about it. It's not boring. It just takes away the mental exertion.
Well, and part of it is creating the places in your routine to do the things that you say you want to do. So, an example from my own life is I build in time every morning to pre-pack my food for work that I take to work that I'm going to eat throughout the day, because doing that, I spend a little bit of time on that up front as part of that routine. And then later on, it's just take it out of a bag and eat it, or take it out of a bag, pop it in the microwave for a minute and eat it. And it makes it much easier when I'm busy at work, because I used to all the time, I would take these things that required some preparation with me, or I would have things that required preparation, and I wouldn't stop and take the time to prepare them properly. And then I would find myself grabbing snacks from the break room instead of sticking to the foods that were within my plan.
Right. So for me, in terms of setting up a routine for myself, I have a routine when I'm and again, this is good for me to talk about because sometimes I forget what my routines are, is I do my best when I get up in the morning, I have my cup of coffee. My routine is to sit on the couch and pre-track my day. I generically pre-track and reserve 300 calories for breakfast, 400 for lunch and dinner, and then 200 calorie snacks. I do better when I bookmark those kind of budget items so that I don't have 1,000-calorie breakfast and go oh no, now I can't eat anything the rest of the day. If I pre-budget, it makes my life much easier. If, like Donald says, pre-portion before you leave the house so that you've got all of your food with you, that really helps. Another part of my routine is I routinely ask myself, how can I pump up the volume with this? It used to be sort of something difficult, veggies, that's too many carbs, but just have it my routine is Monday through Friday, I just have a salad for dinner and I vary my proteins, but I kind of know what I'm going for.
Yeah.
So there's not that additional effort and a good mom would make whatever. I keep it simple. And so I can simply follow the habits that I say are important to me.
And part of my routine is to eat at basically the same times every day too. And that has really helped me. And I know that may seem foreign to a lot of people, but I discovered that if I eat lunch at a particular time and then I give myself a calorie-friendly snack, about on the hour between lunch and dinner, it really keeps me from getting to that point where I'm starving and again grabbing the 400 calories of salted peanuts out of the break room. That kind of torpedoes my calorie count for the day. Keeping myself from getting too hungry by eating at essentially the same times every day really helps me out.
Right. And that routine again ties into timing for the week. Having specific things that you eat on certain days. Friday is rotisserie chicken from Costco night. I don't have to think about it. It makes that routine takes away some of that decision fatigue. Having like my go-to 2 things that I have for lunch, 3 different things that I might have for dinner or a snack keeps it simple. And so I'm not, like I said, not reinventing my plan every single day. The more I write things down, the more awareness I bring to them, the more able I am. Because I can forget like what my routine is. If I don't actually write it down, I go back, a month later and go like, oh yeah, I totally forgot that I used to pre-track my food.
Yeah.
Like, that is really helpful for me. So knowing what works for you and not apologizing for it is really helpful. I definitely do better. And even just going through this list, I definitely see some things like we talked about canary habits, canary in a coal mine, some things that I have been less prepared in recently that I've been making exceptions for. And it's not a lack of desire. It is maybe a little slip in my routine. Maybe it's a little bit of that effort to reestablish some goals that will pay off in the long run. Because if we just leave food to chance, when we make decisions when we are hungry, overwhelmed, we don't have any plans in place, that's when we're going to make those, I don't have time for this, it's too much effort, I'm just going to eat the entire pizza. And I guess when life calms down, then I'll figure it out. But never in the history of life have things ever really calmed down to a point. If we don't start advocating for ourselves, assessing our physical and mental environments, coming up with some policies and strategies to make our food choices easier for us to make, no one else is going to come out and suddenly offer to do that for us. I used to think, must be nice to be Oprah because she can hire a personal chef. And if only I had more money, more time, organic foods, if I hired someone to knock food out of my hand, then I could be thin.
I want that job.
Then I could make those choices. But when we wait for those perfect lifestyles of the rich and famous to suddenly come our way, we're going to be waiting a long time. Make it convenient. Look at your home, your car, your commute, your work. Look at how you can make it more convenient. We cannot control the people around us. We can influence them, but what we can do is control to our best effort what we can do for ourselves. It is effortful. It will take a little bit of effort to make things convenient for yourself. But think about, in a month's time, what if you actually spent some time in the next few weeks setting up your kitchen to be more conducive, buying foods that were ready to eat, that helped you make good and helpful choices. You put away all of the snacks low in the pantry, out of the way, out of sight, to make it more difficult to reach them? What if you put your food scale out and easy to access instead of up in a back cabinet? What things could you put in place that in a month from now, you could just say that took a little bit of time to put in place, but it was so worth it because now I'm not subject to all of my impulsive, last minute, overwhelmed, overworked choices.
Yeah.
It is important for us to advocate for ourselves and to understand that ability chain, making it easy, finding that convenience in convenience. It takes some ideas of how you're going to manage your time, your money, your physical effort, your mental effort, your routine, and your environment to set yourself up for success. Because if we don't do it, no one is going to do it for us. And that is pretty darn inconvenient.
It sure is. So I think next week we're going to apply the BJ Fogg ability chain to exercise and some
mindset, maybe some sleep, some of the potpourri.
I couldn't think of the word mindset. All I could think of was mental health, and I knew that wasn't right. But mindset and some exercise and talk about that. So thank you so much for listening to this episode of the show. We are grateful for each and every one of you. We hope that we have made it convenient for you to listen. You can find the most recent 300 episodes of this show on all of the major podcast platforms. And if you want to go back all the way to episode 1, you can find every episode on YouTube and at our website, weonlylookthin.com.
Yep, and if you are at weonlylookthin.com, you can click on that link for Join Our Support Group to find out more about Wolt Place. We Only Look Thin Place is our Facebook-based accountability group for women. We are not a weight loss plan, but we are a place to strategize on all of those mindset and practical habits that you can put in place to help support your goals with other women who are on all different stages of their weight loss journey. I'm so proud of the group. We are all super supportive and understanding, and it is just a safe place to work on your goals with other people who know what it is like to work these things into our lives. We have 2 subscription options, a monthly subscription with a 3-day complimentary trial and a 3-month subscription with a 7-day complimentary trial to see if Wolt Place is right for you.
Yeah, so please check it out. You can also check us out on social media. You can find us on Facebook and Instagram at We Only Look Thin. Or you could send us an email. You can email us to weonlylookthin@gmail.com. We enjoy getting compliments. We enjoy getting suggestions for episodes. And we will do our best to answer your questions if you want to reach out. Once again, that is weonlylookthin@gmail.com.
Yep, and if you have a couple of extra minutes and can head over to Apple Podcasts, please leave us a rating and a review. It lets us know that what we are doing each and every week for how many, 6 years now?
Yeah.
Is making a difference in your life. We invest this time not only for ourselves, but for you. And so getting a little bit of feedback and support would be greatly appreciated.
Yeah, I think we just hit 6.5 years, actually.
Oh, boy, goodness. Time has marveled the ages. It's getting worse every time.
Time has marveled the ages. And you can also do us a favor if you just tell somebody about the show. Word of mouth really helps the show grow. If you're in a conversation with somebody, if you know somebody that would get something out of the show and you give us a shout out, that really helps. Or if you're in a Discord server, a Reddit group, that has to do with, I frequent one that is calories in, calories out. Reddit group, if you give us a shout out, or a Facebook group, something like that, and it makes sense to give us a shout out, that really does help the show grow.
It sure does. So if you are not sure if time is a flat circle or pret-a-manger is an egg salad sandwich in a plastic triangle, just remember that Donald and I are...
I know which one I want.
An inspiration.
The information that you hear on this podcast is for informational purposes only. The hosts are not medical professionals. You should always consult with your doctor, nurse, or other certified health professional before beginning any diet or fitness program.